Welcome to the Recover Me podcast with Willey, doctor of osteopathic medicine, a best-selling author, and leading expert on holistic, healthy living. Warren is your guide to living a naturally healthier, happier life. So much of Western medicine, popular diets, and fitness fads put a bandage over health problems, addressing symptoms and not causes, offering short-term results at the expense of long-term health. That's why Warren is a man on a mission to question the status quo and uncover holistic health solutions you can use in your life, starting right now. Now, to get us started today, here's Warren.
Hi, Dr. Willey again. Welcome back to another episode of the Recover Me podcast, the type of medicine that meets you where you are and helps you survive life, basically. We're going to do a couple things today. It's going to be a shorter podcast because I hope to use some of your precious time at the end of it to send you to Amazon and purchase Obtainable, which is now available. So I'm going to break this podcast up into two sections. One, I want to review last week's podcast on balanced resolutions because I've had some great questions on it since it was published. And I want to just review the 15, 16, depends on how you're counting, New Year's resolutions that I suggested based on a Recover Me approach to help you really achieve some New Year's resolution goals this time and not throw in the towel in March or April like happens with everyone but 8% of the population out there that we talked about. Now, that 8%, I think that dwindles to less than 1% by the time July hits. So I want to review that, and then I'm going to walk you through the book so you understand what you're getting into. Understand that it is just as much, if not more, a reference guide for the future as it is a sit down and read me book. Now, some people can sit down and read it, one setting, no problem. I don't have that attention span. If you do, great. If not, this book is still for you because it's such a good reference guide. I've listed so many things out in formats that you can quickly review, figure out if it's right for you, and go forward with it. So I'll cover that, but we'll start right now with reviewing last week's podcast. So what we talked about was balanced resolutions. I covered the top 15 New Year's resolutions that no one ever succeeds at long term. Weight loss, more energy, more time with friends and family, all those things we talked about. And I changed it to a Recover Me point of view because I think when you approach it with this vision in mind, then you do so much better than trying to reach this unattainable goal of X amount of pounds off in a certain amount of time, because even if you do reach that goal, you're going to blow it afterwards. And we all know it. I don't know why we try to fool ourselves every year. It doesn't work. So let me cover with you the 15 Recover Me New Year's resolution goals to review. And then as I'm doing that, I'm going to interject some of the questions I've received via email and internet correspondence and even phone calls so I can give more clarification to it. So the first one we talked about is rather than exercise to lose weight or get in shape, plan purposeful movement to lower cortisol. Now, if you joined a gym this year, great. If you hired a personal trainer this year, great. All those things are good. But if you go to the gym and say, I'm going to exercise and lose weight, and you step on that scale every day, every other day, or if you can even stand it every week, and it doesn't budge, then you're not going to succeed. We all need that apple in front of us, right? We all need some sort of proof that what I'm doing, this effort I'm putting forth, this time I'm taking to leave work, change my clothes, deal with traffic, exercise real hard, sweat, shower, put my clothes back on. Remember, I didn't bring deodorant this time, dang it. Or my hairbrush I left in the car. And then get back to work or back to your family or back to your responsibilities. That's just not going to last, especially if you're not seeing changes. But let's pretend you are seeing changes and you are losing the weight. Great motivation. Can you do that for the rest of your life? Probably not. No one can. So the goal of rather than exercise to lose weight or get in shape, plan purposeful movement to lower cortisol basically means If your goal is to just feel better, if your goal is to do what's best for your body, if your goal is to do what's best for your body so you can be at your best for your loved ones or your work situation or your dog or whatever, then it becomes more realistic. Because what that purposeful movement does is it changes hormones. And as hormones change, you recover. Hence the whole recover me philosophy. So do not plan exercise to lose weight or to look like Mr. or Mrs. Olympia or become a bodybuilder or a fitness model or whatnot. Exercise to feel better, to lower cortisol. The second one was make a goal to meditate 10 minutes every day. This is so important. We are in such a rushed, run around, nonstop society that no one takes time just to breathe. I suggest the app on your phone, your iPhone, your Android, whatever you have, at calm.com, CALM.com, calm.com. It's $60 a year, and every day they walk you through a 10-minute meditation. If you can just sit in a quiet room, go to the closet, go to the bathroom for heaven's sakes, and just sit and listen to what they tell you to do for 10 minutes, it will change your world. I'm not kidding. It's huge. The effects downstream are everywhere. That's a huge thing to do, and you're going to see results from it right away. Right away. And that's why it's very obtainable and long term. Notice how I threw in the name of my book there, but we'll cover that in a minute. So make a goal to meditate 10 minutes every day. Then I suggested utilizing natural supplements like L-theanine. That's the amino acid found in green tea that's very calming. Rather than jumping to your doctor to get some Valium or Xanax or lorazepam, if you're anxious and overdrawn and just buzzing all over the place, have a cup of green tea. Look into the supplement Relora, which is philodendron and magnolia, which is a wonderful, well-studied supplement that helps to lower cortisol and helps with those stresses. What that New Year's resolution basically is don't dive right into medications. Don't get put on drugs. Doctors mean well, but we are taught to give you drugs based on symptoms. And there's no thought long term. No thought long term. So I know I might get some disagreement with that, but seriously, there's no thought long term. You got to do it. You got to treat yourself today. Go for the underlying cause, not just bandage symptoms. The next one was to really work on your sleep. And we're going to talk a little about sleep when I get into Obtainable, because there's a chapter on sleep in here, which I think is a incredible reference guide for people wanting to learn to sleep better. And I broke it down into two different types, pattern 1 and pattern 2 sleep disorders, which should pretty much fit 90% of the people listening, if not more. So we'll cover that in a minute here. The next New Year's resolutions based on the Recover Me model was do your best to avoid processed foods. They're convenient, they're quick, they're easy, but they also beat the crap out of you over time. Now, part of the Recover Me philosophy is, okay, let's make sure my kidneys are working good, my liver's working good, my gut is healthy, my hormones are balanced, my cortisol is low, so I can handle the occasional processed foods. Exactly. But part of that is to, when you have an option of eating man-made food versus God-made food, or food with just one ingredient, that's God-made food, then that is what you should focus on. It's a simple thing. You're not always going to do it. It's not one of those all or nothing ones like your exercise program at Gold's Gym. It is do your best to avoid processed foods. If you have an option, if you're confronted with an apple or a Twinkie, choose the one with the ingredients you can spell and say, right? Do the apple. It's a big picture thing. You want to help your body, make sure your body recovers, but you also want to eat God-made food if you can. The next one is see a hormone specialist. Now, you may say, I have no hormone problems, doc, I'm fine. Now, you might get some disagreement from loved ones, but we won't go there. But what I'm encouraging you to do is rather than just assuming you're normal, rather than assuming you fall within this normal range that's huge, go get stuff checked and optimize them. Talk to someone about optimizing your hormones, because that's part of the whole Recover Me approach and process, is to optimize where you're at, right? It's the medicine that meets you where you are and helps you deal with life. Part of that is hormone optimization. That's an easy thing to do. Make an appointment with a hormone specialist in your area, have everything checked, and talk to him or her about optimizing things. It'll help you everywhere else. The next thing I wanted you to do in the Recover Me balance resolutions is utilize natural probiotics. Now, that doesn't mean you take them in a pill form. I would encourage you to get online, get recipes for kombucha, for kimchi, for kefir, for homemade yogurt, and make your own. Go play outside in the dirt as often as you can with your kids. Let a dog lick your face. I mean, all these things, those are natural probiotics. Taking a probiotic every day, though it does show benefit short term, is not beneficial long term. And if you do decide to use probiotics, make sure you rotate them every 4 to 6 weeks. Use different ones with different strains of bacteria in them. Otherwise, that bacteria in that good probiotic now becomes bad because it's wiped out all your other good bacteria. So, right, it's the law of humans. Ultimate power equals ultimate corruption. That's just what happens when humans get in power. Bacteria seem to have the same trait. So rotate that through or use natural probiotics. Also, in working on your gut health, start utilizing L-glutamine. Take some papaya enzyme every time you eat. Consider Oxenbio if you've had your gallbladder removed. Simple little things like that, which will help your gut be healthy, which makes you healthy overall. The next New Year's resolutions I discussed, and there was some questions on this, so I'll cover those, is go to EWG.org, environmentalworkinggroup.org, for all your products and utilize their consumer guides. There are so many chemicals in our society, there's so many chemicals in our environment that even your simple lipstick that lasts all day long, you know why it lasts all day long? It has lead in it. That's not good for you. So go to the EWG.org and look at your products, throw away the products they suggest you toss, purchase the products they suggest that they've evaluated and looked into. Now, once again, just like I talked about earlier, this is not an all or none thing. But if you can simply plan ahead for this summer and make sure your sunscreen is environmentally safe and person safe, not just UV protected safe, but person safe, then you're ahead. You started the whole Recover Me process. It can be as simple as that. And that's really what I want to emphasize. And questions around that. I had a couple questions come through that said, Doc, I'm going to throw away $1,000 worth of makeup if I do this. And no. It's a big picture thing. Pick one or two that you use most frequently and switch those products. If you have a certain line of makeup, Mary Kay, Gentry Kelly, whatever, you keep using them. But if you can exchange a few of them that may be a little more toxic or you use on a greater surface of your body area, such as lotion or soaps or detergents, go to EWG.org and change stuff up for a while. That's all. The next New Year's resolutions based on the Recover Me approach was try to sweat hard at least once a day. Now, that does not mean 2 hours of exercise. It means 10 minutes in a sauna, in a dry sauna. Sitting 10 minutes in a sauna at 140 to 160 degrees dry sauna, and you will sweat out toxins. It makes a huge difference. If you can go for a 10-minute brisk walk at lunchtime and break a little sweat, you are getting rid of toxins in your body. You will notice a difference over time. Kind of goes back to our first resolution that talked about exercise for health, not just to lose weight or get in shape. Ensure a healthy liver and kidney system. That is so important. And that I would encourage you to see your doctor, not just do the blood tests, but there's more detailed testing we can do to make sure you're clearing toxins appropriately. We can even look at genetic tests to make sure your body has the ability to clear toxins, not just liver and kidney functions. That's very important with the Recover Me approach to medicine, is ensuring our bodies can handle what life throws at us. I encourage everyone to take a good multivitamin with minerals every day. Now, that's a simple New Year's resolution. Go get a good multivitamin with minerals in it and take one every day with breakfast or with dinner or with lunch, whatever you have to do. Simple New Year's resolutions that you'll probably stick to over time. If you miss a day, you forget to take them on vacation or a business trip, come back to them. Again, it's not an all or nothing thing. It's let me optimize my body over time. The next one was to try to eat 4 or 5 servings of brightly colored fruit and vegetables a day. Now, we're hearing reports that you should be eating 10 to 12 to 14 servings of vegetables and fruit a day. I do not know a person that does that. Even some of my vegan friends are lucky to get in that much. But having multicolored fruit and vegetables at least a few times during the day is so important. If you decide to juice, do not just juice and throw away the pulp. You need to drink all of it. So I would blend it and drink it all if you rather swallow your fruits and vegetables rather than chew them. You need the fiber in there. It's very important for overall health. So once again, 4 or 5 servings of brightly colored, multiple color fruits and vegetables every day. The next thing and the last thing on our little list here, and then I'm going to get into the book Obtainable, is talk to your doctor about a couple of my favorite supplements: N-acetylcysteine, coenzyme Q10, and resveratrol. Those are powerful, wonderful supplements, but you need to talk to your doctor if that may be appropriate to you, because I think those supplements are probably some of my top ones. I talk about them in an earlier podcast when I covered 10 of my favorite anti-aging overall health supplements, but look into those. Those are simple, easy to do New Year's resolutions that really should work over time and last. They're not these crazy life-changing ones that everyone fails at by March or April. So let me dive, if I may, into Obtainable, because it's being released today. Today is January 8th, and January 8th is when Obtainable is now available on Amazon. So I just want to cover a few things in here. I want to cover a couple of the quotes I start with first, because I think it's important. One of my favorite quotes is by Arthur Schopenhauer, and he said, "All truth passes through 3 stages. First, it is ridiculed." And I've got some ridicule with some of my beliefs over the years, because I'm not, it's exercise more, eat less. That does not work for people long term. So I got some ridicule. Second, it's violently opposed. Oh, I've gotten some pretty rough arguments. I'm not quite the yelling type, but I've been yelled at that it's all about calories. Nothing else matters. And then I can just ask them, well, what's your excuse? Right? So, but the third, this is a cool one. The third truth. So I'll read it again. All truth passes through 3 stages. First, it is ridiculed. Second, it is violently opposed. And third, it is accepted as self-evident. In other words, it's the no blank Sherlock. We knew that already, Doc. Well, good. I don't care if you got it from my book or somewhere else. This book is full of, will soon be, and it already is in my opinion, if you really look into the literature, it's already self-evident. It's there, but it's going to go through these stages, and you're going to argue through it with these stages if you read this. There's a warning I put on this book too that I think I should let everyone know about. Warning: this book is not a quick fix. If you needed results yesterday, put this book down and save it for when you have more time, or finally given to the realization that nothing you're doing is working. Just a little warning I want to talk about here. The next thing I'd like to point out is I originally called this book Fat to Fit to Fat, because so many of the programs out there that help people get in shape or healthy take them from fat to fit, but then people go right back to fat. And that is just across the board. It is so rare to see someone lose weight and keep it off long term, or get healthy and stay healthy long term. It's just the minority. And so I named it Fat to Fit to Fat. But I changed the name because I realized, especially as I had more and more people read preprints, they're like, wow, that's a very positive book. And to me, Fat to Fit to Fat was kind of a negative title. So I changed it to Obtainable, because I really think it works well. So the next thing I want to cover is I cover different types of diets in it. And I want to read a table for you that covers what I call the modern Fat to Fit to Fat diet and lifestyle program diets, like Obtainable is. The length of the program: modern Fat to Fit to Fat programs are usually 12 weeks on average. A lifestyle program like this is forever. Goals are short-term on your typical programs, long-term goals with this one. Food types are restricted in almost every Fat to Fit to Fat diet out there. But in a lifestyle program, food types are not restricted, it's open. Calories, always restricted in a Fat to Fit to Fat program. But there's much more variability when you learn how to do it and you get all the other equations balanced. Freedom to cheat, not on a 12-week program. No, you can't cheat. You'll blow it. And if you do cheat and maintain your weight, you're going to blow it eventually, right? Well, it's very available in this when you understand the big picture, when everything in your body, your hormones, your cortisol, your brain hormones, your gut health, toxins in your environment, your oxidative stress levels are all well controlled and managed. Cheating doesn't touch you. It's fun. It's a part of life. Supplements in fit to fat programs are very generalized for everyone, but specific to the short-term goal. Supplements in a long-term program are very individualized to the person and change over time as the body changes. Exercise in a typical weight loss program is excessive. With a lifestyle program, it's minimal. Stress on the body is excessive in a fit to fat program. It's minimal with a lifestyle program. Macronutrients are restricted or lopsided in almost every program out there, but they're balanced to the individual when you learn about your body. That's what this book is for. Again, once again, being a reference book. Drugs are encouraged in these programs, whether it's legal drugs, illegal drugs, or supplements you buy at the GNC, they're encouraged, but not in a lifestyle program. They're minimized, if not removed completely. And finally, perspective. Perspective in a fit to fat program is restricted to physical appearance. But in a lifestyle program, we're focused on balance of mind, body, and spirit. I thought that was very important to understand that there's a difference between what this book is professing and everything else out there. It's a very different and a unique approach. I broke it down, although this applies to anyone, I broke it down into 6 people that may benefit from it. So let me read those to you. The man or woman who at one time trained hard, got into contest shape to do a physique show, a bodybuilding show, or a fitness show. Following it, they lost other gains and cannot get that ideal body back. I see these people daily in my practice. Number 2, a similar person to those above who no matter what they do cannot get into that super shape like they'd hoped for, no matter how hard they try, how little they eat, or how much they exercise. Number 3, the ex-athlete, both college and professional, who after retiring or playing sports, after they quit, lost all their lean mass and gained a bunch of fat. I see those people all the time too. Number 4, the people who cannot lose weight no matter how hard they try, including the good people who used to be thin and lean and somehow 20 pounds snuck up on them. Number 5, the avid endurance athlete who are absolutely worn out from all their training, but still have belly fat. There's a hormone issue there, guys. Number 6, the yo-yo dieter whose string finally broke. So really that covers most people, but those who I specifically wanted to point out. Chapter 2, I talk about blaming. Why do we blame so many things? And what are the things we blame and why that's not really sensitive or specific to everybody? My first paragraph goes like this. Do you have TAT, T-A-T-T syndrome? That stands for tired all the time. How about USTA, U-S-T-A? You know, I used to feel good. Chances are, if you're reading this book, you have both of these disease states. Let's get you on track to cure these terrible ailments by helping you and your body recover from the crazy, get healthy and get lean routine that you've been subjected to. So the first couple chapters really give you an idea where we're going to go. My third chapter, I get into the case studies. And what I did, I listed out 6 different people. These are true, real people, real stories. As a matter of fact, we're going to do podcasts with probably each and every one of these people. I already did one with Ashley, my ex-college athlete. She wrote her paragraph in this book here. I already did a podcast with her. It's available on the website, drwilley.com, that talks about her experience being an ex-college Division I athlete and what happened to her when she got out of that lifestyle and how she fixed it, utilizing the approaches found in this book. But I also cover bodybuilders, fitness girls, a yo-yo dieter, 20-plus pounds in menopause, the long haul patient, in other words, an endurance athlete, and then my wonderful medical assistant, Lisa, did a short paragraph on the type of great person we see in our practice every day. Chapter 4, I cover what we call, I start my problem list. So I have 3 primary problems I talk about here. Number 1, too much exercise. Number 2, or chapter 5, is too little eating, or get the body I want now eating. And number 6, or my chapter 6, problem 3, is the supplements and drugs. I cover all that because it's so important. And I'll just spend some quick time on the exercise, because I think that's where people are fooled. We're so into more must be better but really it's a bell-shaped curve. You get into issues the more you do without recovering appropriately. And that's what I talk about here. I talk about something called the allostatic load, and I've done a podcast on that as well. There's a lot more detail in the book on allostatic load and what that does to your body if your body's not allowed to recover. In chapter 5, when I talk about the too little eating or get the body I want now eating, I talk about all sort of eating plans that just destroy people hormonally. And there's research behind this. When your calories go too low or you start shifting macronutrients inappropriately for your body, your genetics, your background, your environment, your exposures, all those things go haywire. And we talk about that in here. Chapter 6, I covered just a few supplements and very popular physique-altering drugs like clenbuterol, oxandrolone, which is Anavar. A few of these drugs I see just in the water supply in most gyms nowadays. I cover them in here and what happens long-term when you do those drugs. And Chapter 7 talks about diets written under the guise of medical supervision. And I'm not throwing my fellow bariatrician under the bus with this. I'm just saying these diets are not good for people long term. No one can do it. No one can sustain 800 calories a day in liquid form from pre-made supplements the rest of their life. Could you use one short term to reach a surgical goal to help lose weight prior to a knee replacement? Yes, but you better have a solution for that person long term. And that's what I talk about here in the book, that there is a bigger picture that we have to evaluate. The next section of the book, section 3, I call the fix. And I introduce the whole Recover Me thinking and approach to medicine in a little more detail in the book. I've done podcasts on it already, so you already know, if you've been a listener, you kind of understand where I'm coming from in this, but I cover it more in the book here. In chapter 8, I do a detailed medical evaluation. I cover hormones, gut testing, oxidative stress testing. I cover home tests you can do at home to make sure your body's recovering appropriately. It is a very detailed chapter, and it may throw some people off, but use it more as a reference guide. If I get my FSH and LH tested, or I get my progesterone to estrogen ratio checked by my doctor, what should it be and what's optimal? That's what I go through here. So it's a little more thick, a little more deep, and maybe beyond some people's willingness to read it, but use it again as a reference guide. Just a ton of information under the medical evaluation, chapter 8. In chapter 9, I talk about Recover Me exercises and how to exercise appropriately to help your body recover. So I talk about when to exercise, how long you should exercise, how many days a week you should exercise, what should your rest days look like. I give you examples of multiple simple exercise regimens you can do in a gym or at home, the types of exercises, and most importantly, how do you recover from your exercise? And that includes a section on the pre and post-workout meal, which if anybody's been following me for years knows that's what the entire book, Better Than Steroids, is about. And so I cover it from a different viewpoint, a different angle, different supplements, different pre and post-workout suggestions, because people that come to me that are in the fat to fit to fat state are sick people. So there's a lot more information on supplements and what's good for them to help their bodies recover. In chapter 10, I cover eating. And it's very important. This is not a restrictive eating plan. It's directional. And so I've been asked a couple times, well, Doc, I read that and it seems like you're not having me eat much food. And I tell people, no, you're eating the minimal amount of food. If you want to eat more than that, go for it. Right? It's not just a calorie issue. It's a bigger issue. When you get your hormones balanced, your HPA axis balanced, your gut's healthy, you're lowering your oxidative stress, and you're getting rid of toxins in your environment, like we talked at the first part of this podcast, then you can get away with more eating. So this is not a restricted plan. It's directional. But I also talk about what to do before and after eating for optimal recovery. When to eat, how to eat, what to do with or around eating. That includes taking supplements. You know, there's a handful of supplements in this book that if you go out to eat and have a total disaster, let's say you go to Golden Corral or some all-you-can-eat restaurant and just destroy yourself there, taking the suggested supplements in this afterwards will lower the toxic load and help you recover from that, and it won't affect you as long. That's the type of information in this book. And really, how do I monitor my eating? The next chapter, chapter 11, I talk about supplements. There's tons of examples. in this book, tons of supplements. That doesn't mean you need to take them all. I listed them all out in almost a format that you can use as a reference guide to help you decide what's best for you. It's broken down, easy to understand, and hey, how might this supplement benefit me with my situation? That's how I wrote it for you. It's also based on age and sex, so man or woman. I've broken it down a little more for that to help you get directional. None of these supplements are lifelong. They're all to help you recover and get you into optimal health, both physical, mental, emotional, relationship, spiritual, everything. That's what that's for. Chapter 12, great chapter on sleep. I mentioned sleep earlier under our balance resolutions. This will help you understand sleep. It talks about sleep architecture. It talks about the two patterns of sleep that I see in people that are problematic. Problem one, or pattern one is what I call in the book, is someone who falls asleep before their head hits the pillow, but then wakes up between 1 and 4 every morning. That is a hormone issue. Pattern two is someone who goes to bed exhausted, but lays there cursing, counting ceiling tiles, whatever, until early in the morning. They finally fall asleep into a deep, wonderful sleep, only to have their alarm clock go off and wake them up. And then the cussing begins, amongst other things. So pattern one, pattern two sleep, I give you interventions for it. I cover 16 absolute essential hygiene tips that you can do to help optimize your sleep environment. I talk about things you really must avoid, like taking over-the-counter sleep medication. There's nothing more than antihistamines. Histamines are your primary brain-activating hormones, so if you're suppressing those continually trying to sleep, you feel like crap during the day. Crap is a medical word. I can say it because that's what antihistamines do. Even though they claim the half-life of diphenhydramine or Benadryl is maybe 9 hours, 4 to 9 hours, depending on who you read, I am convinced it affects most people much longer, especially when you take it every night. So I talk about things to avoid, drugs that you should avoid. But then I talk about sleep aids, supplements that do help with sleep, and even some medications that can be used short-term, no more than 30 days, that can help people get in a good pattern of sleep. Again, not lifelong. Not lifelong. Drugs are not long-term. Finally, chapter 13 in the book is frequently asked questions. And I really like that because I've collected questions from patients over the years. I literally have thousands and thousands saved on my email because I've had the same email address since the early 90s or mid 90s, I guess, when the internet first came out. Thank you, Al Gore. And I've collected them because I've had this approach for so long. I summarized a lot of them in the book. So it's detailed questions for patients I've had over the years. And to me, it's a really good summary and review of the book with emphasis on key points. So that is a quick review of Obtainable. I hope it excites you as much as it excites me. Again, it's a reference guide. It's easily reading too. I think I write very simply. I'm a simple person, so it's simply easy to write. It's available on Amazon right now. Release date today, January 8th, 2019. Go check it out. My contact information is there. You can go to my website, drwilley.com, leave me a voicemail directly on the website or an email, and I hope this is a benefit to you. I'm so excited about it. So I will shut down our Recover Me podcast for today. If you have any questions, like always, get a hold of us. Remember, Recovery Medicine meets you where you are and helps you survive through life. I wish you the best. Happy New Year.
Thank you for joining Warren on the Recover Me podcast with Warren Willey, your guide to living a naturally healthier, happier life. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, or wherever you find your best podcasts. To connect with Warren and the community, learn more about naturally healthy living, and claim a free resource to improve your health right away, visit drwilley.com. You'll find all of Dr. Willey's resources there, including best-selling books like Better Than Steroids, The Z Diet, What Does Your Doctor Look Like Naked? And his latest book, Obtainable, Enjoy the Body and Energy You've Always Wanted, Beyond Diet and Exercise. That's drwilley.com, drwilley.com. And until next time with Warren, get fit, be healthy, live life.